So, this is it. This would be the last segment of the LP. And like with pretty much every other last level in a Doom game, it gives you just about every frickin' thing that you could possibly want. But I cannot pick up the shotgun because for the first time in a long time, I've got maximum ammo for that weapon. So, let's just utilize that as a celebration. That, and obviously the fact that this LP is coming to a close finally. The only thing I'm scared about is the fact that I've only got 260 cells in this weapon. That is probably not going to be enough. If I can hopefully sustain fire for at the very least 5 seconds, then it should be fine, but I'm still not kind of sure about that. But anyways, we'll go ahead and grab the Megasphere. We'll just have to leave these behind. And then we grab the Invulnerability, and then we head out onto the final arena, and it's actually appropriate that it's on fire. Now this room is actually pretty straightforward. There's these 3 weird door things, there's the thing in the middle, and then you'll notice these weird switch things. These 3 doorways are actually gates, and in order to close them, you need special keys. Which keys? These ones. The ones that you've been collecting in the secret levels. The super secrets inside the secret levels help you to actually beat this level. If that's the problematic part though, because if you don't actually collect the demon keys, not only does this weapon suck, but your chances of beating this level pretty much go down the drain. So in order to trigger this level, we just go down in the middle here, and then enemies just start pouring out of here, which we want to avoid because, of course, of all the enemies in the game to pick, they had to pick the one enemy in this game that I hate more than anything else. And to make matters worse, I've done just enough to set the Mother Demon off. That's her right there. Ugly bitch, isn't she? And she's got homing missiles as well. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to beat her within about 5 seconds. Because if you focus exclusively towards her and then die, that was terrible. My apologies for that. I'll leave that in, because at this rate, literally, it would seriously just... The fight will literally be over in a few seconds. The segment would not be very short as a result. So we'll just redo this. No big deal. It's perfectly fine. I have absolutely no problems with this. What I do have a problem with is actually picking up the invulnerability before I was meant to. And then, once I got all this junk filled up and all this, that next thing, we then pick this thing up. I have this strange urge to belch because I kind of have a can of drink with me, which I sink about half of between segments to make sure I don't rip my throat apart. And then we grab the invulnerability, and then we just do the same thing all over again. Except this time we're actually going to get some use out of our invulnerability. Yeah, while it's earthquaking, you can't hit any of those switches, which actually sucks. Come on. There you are. Just focus your fire exclusively on the bitch, and within about 4 or 5 seconds, she dies. That is how powerful this laser gun is. And I managed to get that lost soul in before the level ended. I think that should register 100% kills. Please tell me. Oh, 97. Oh well. If my memory serves me correctly, the game actually came out in 1997. So it actually fits that I have 97% of kills to an extent. But yeah, that's how quick the fight actually goes down if you have all 3 of the demon keys. I only spent 1 minute 72 seconds in this level. Well, at least on this attempt. So, that would be it. That would be the entire LP done and out of the way. So we have this little epilogue here. I think I'm not too sure. Well, of course I had to have gone on a tangent about the storyline about this, but point is, the Mother Demon's been found, she's been killed, you have succeeded, and as stated, as I might have stated earlier, like I said, it would before, that would be the last. It would be the last time that the Marine ever does anything on the planet Earth, because for some reason he decides that he wants to dig up a bunch of the hell rock and brimstone and shit and build himself a nice little house and have cups of tea every single day. Don't know where he's going to get the tea from. I suppose there kind of is water in hell. I don't know why there is. It should just be all hellish and lava and shit like that, but apparently that's not the case. So, that's pretty much it. This would, if this was actually canon to the other two games, this would be the last adventure of the Doom Marine. He would literally just sit there and do nothing, unless some of the other Doom wads and shit like that actually were fitted into the canon as well, something like a Hell Revealed 2 or something like that. But anyways, what you see before you is basically a cast list. It shows you all the different enemies, and this actually allows you to actually see the difference between the zombie man and the shotgun guy in the colour of their pants. It's very clear here. So it goes through all the different enemies that you fight along with this game and finishes up with you as the hero character. And every time you press a key, or the spacebar in this case, it shoots and kills the poor bugger. Bye-bye, demon. You were uninteresting. Spectre and shit like that. Ugly little cretin. I'll go through the cast list and then basically sort of give my final, like, thought on each of the enemies. I think that makes sense, just to lengthen the video a little bit, because we're only 7 minutes into the video, so it makes sense to sort of go through the motions, I suppose. So, the zombie man, I don't have any thoughts for this one. It's just a zombie man. He's got a rifle, that's about it. He has weird pants. There's not much else I can say about the shotgun guy. Although, having said that, I did actually see this sprite design. I think it was a custom sprite design for the heavy weapon dude, the next level up from the shotgun guy that has the chain gun, which you'll see in Doom 2 once I get around to that playthrough. But I thought that was actually kind of awesome. It would have been nice to see something like the heavy weapon dude in the game, but alas, memory issues are a thing, which is sort of saddening, but shit happens. The imps were definitely a lot scarier, because the other ones were just basically brown guys that looked... they just kind of looked like angry guys in, like, spandex suits, like the morph suits or something like that, with just spikes protruding out of them. These ones, they actually look like proper denizens of hell. It's very creepy looking. Nightmare Imp, this is the only game they showed up in. They were definitely challenging in that, especially in that one level, I remember, but overall, not really too interesting, to be perfectly honest. Demon, nice little chunk of meat to chop up on the chainsaw every once in a while. It's very nice. He's one of the more iconic enemies. Got a massive facelift in Doom 3. Was like one of the most powerful enemies, but it was deadly as fuck. So, I'd say kudos to this guy. And this image of the Spectre actually gives you the, sort of, like, the actual colour that they are meant to be. It's like baby shit. Baby feces. Now I've basically just scarred everyone's minds forever. But yeah, they weren't really overly interesting. Like, they weren't that much more interesting than the demons. They were just sort of invisible, but the invisibility trick here just didn't really work out, because I'm guessing it was engine issues. Lost Soul, not even going to say anything about it. It's just a floating head. Cacodemon, I still maintain, got the best makeover of all the monsters that made it into this game, because that is just that's really impeccable. It's just nice for them to give him some arms and just give him the right solid sharp teeth, sharp fang, just the creepy as all hell look that he didn't quite have as much in the PC version games, so I'm quite happy with this. Hell Knight was sort of like made a little bit I think he's a bit more ripped than his computer version, but other than that, it wasn't really much of a change. He looked taller, but that's just because of the point of view that this game has. It's from chest view, not eye level. Baron of Hell, I think the only real interesting thing about this was that its projectile was a different color. Aside from that, it was just pretty much a harder version, pretty much. Orangatron was kind of irritating, to be fair, especially in that map 22. It was a bit dickish, I have to say. Overall, it's a little bit closer to actually being a spider in that it has 6 legs, but it's still just kind of dickish. And its organic part doesn't look anywhere near as like a brain as it did in the original. Pain Elemental, I hate this thing with a passion. I got to give kudos to the designers though. This is actually a pretty awesome redesign. It's just that I just don't like the Pain Elemental as a monster in general. It's not like it's just the fact that it does what it does that just makes me want to hate it. This design, however, is actually pretty awesome to give it 2 mouths like that. It's very, very creepy looking. So I like the design, to be perfectly fair. Mancubus got its knees done, if I'm going to reference White Chicks or something like that, but overall, not really that big of a deal. I actually do like the Mancubus because it's just sort of like a fat thing that just launches these massive-ass fireballs. It's just sort of... I just sort of took a genuine interest in it. Like, if I could have one of these enemies as a pet, I would probably use a Mancubus. I'd be tempted to get the Cyber Demon, though, but I would probably take a Mancubus because it just sets things on fire. I don't know, maybe I'm a pyromaniac like that, but the Cyber Demon, this thing is actually quite awesome. I quite like this. And one of the things I'll actually point out here is that if you use the arrow keys, you can actually turn the models around and look at them from different points of view. You could actually do that in the PC version games. Any key that you pressed would just kill the enemy. But overall, the Cyber Demon, I don't think it really needed that much of a redesign. The only thing I did notice about the original was that the nose, its nostrils, I actually, for the longest time, confused them for its actual eyes, like the original sprite for this in the PC games. It was not until a while later that I realised that there was these little white, red dots right next to its horns that were meant to be the eyes, and it actually made it look a lot more derpy. And this just makes it... This gives it more dog face, which is quite nice. I quite like that as well, so it was pretty awesome. Which then leaves us with the Marine. Obviously, he had to have gotten a bit of a fix-up. I don't get the weird antenna sort of thing on his head. I suppose if that's sort of like their new radio sort of thing, I suppose it's not so bad. It's kind of interesting. But it would be hilarious if, like, a zombie tried taking a shot and ended up taking out the frickin' aerial. That would just piss people off, because you couldn't possibly be that horridly lucky. I guess unless you're going up against Hell itself, in which case Hell can just shift things around and be arseholish like that. But I can't really say too much about this Marine's design. You see this just about everywhere. It's just another one of the designs that you see left, right, and center, because you see it in a whole bunch of Skull Tag mods and shit like that, or it's Xandrin them now. So I'd say that's pretty much it. My thoughts are now done and dusted. I managed to add a little bit of padding to the video and make it a 14-minute video, which is just going to make it frickin' take longer to render once I've gotten up to this in the post-production in Camtasia. But that would be that. So, I'm not too sure what I'm doing. As I mentioned in an earlier segment, I'm not really sure if I wanted to go back and do System Shock 2. I'm definitely considering dropping it, as much as I would hate for that to happen. I'll have to have a think about it over the weekend, but aside from that, if I decide not to do System Shock, my two frontrunners at this moment would be Mario 64 Star Road, which is a ROM hack of the original Mario 64, which I recently did a playthrough of and actually quite liked and enjoyed, even though I abused the shit out of save states, but it's fine. Or Pokemon Fire Red Omega, because I'm just about done with the Red fight, which I'll be uploading on my other channel. I'm just about done grinding for it at least, and so hopefully I can get that recorded and out of the way, so then if I do decide to do a Pokemon LP, I can focus exclusively on that. So, but for whatever the future has in stock for me, I sincerely hope that you will take some interest in it, as you may have in this playthrough. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I've quite enjoyed making this playthrough. while annoying as it was to be spending months without recording this, I'm just glad that it's over and done with now. So, with that out of the way, see you for whatever it is that I do next onto this channel.